Shalom, shalom, shalom. Akim call Allah Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Kokwadash. Double honors go out to the apostles, alright, who taught us through the Spirit, taught us all is true, and who rule well, alright. Um, this is Naaman with the DC camp, and this video is going to be about, of course, Donald Trump. And for those of you that it may have occurred to you and you just might have dismissed it, yeah, this guy seems pretty desperate, all right, to win, and there's reasons for it, and this is what this video is going to address. And this article is from Bing.com, and it says the legal reckoning awaiting Donald Trump if he loses the election. See, this guy is so proud and such a jackass that he's pissed so many people off, not only in the years prior to him winning the presidency, but especially in the presidency. I mean, he basically did whatever he wanted and pissed off a whole lot of people that couldn't touch him while he was in office. But now that he's leaving office, you can see them rubbing their hands. Yeah, buddy. And while he was in office, he used the Justice Department to intimidate a lot of people. Well, he doesn't have that luxury anymore. So let me get this. This is what I wanted from CNN. I don't know why that was up there. So so here we go. And this is from last month. As soon as it loads here. The legal reckoning awaiting Donald Trump if he loses the election. It looks more and more likely. Today is the 6th of November, and they're still counting. I believe it's still 5 states outstanding. All right, and with all those mail-ins and the military, they're still counting. It looks like Biden is going to overtake. But let's be real. To us, it doesn't matter, because both, well, whoever, as I'll say, it looks like Biden. You know, that's nothing but Eve and the serpent all over again. Or I should say a continuation of Eve and the serpent. So we're screwed either way. Anyway, here it goes. So this is from CNN. And it says the legal reckoning awaiting Donald Trump if he loses the election. All right. It says if things don't go Donald Trump's way on election day, the president may face more serious matters than how to pack up the West Wing. I also, and I heard it's just a rumor that he's saying that, well, if Biden wins, he'll leave the country, and it may be more than that than just, you know, an outburst. And maybe he will have to. All right. It says without some of the protections afforded him by the presidency, Trump will become vulnerable to multiple investigations looking into possible fraud in his financial business dealings as a private citizen, both as an individual and through his company. He faces defamation lawsuits sparked by his denials of accusations made by women who have alleged he assaulted them, including E. Jean Carroll, the former magazine columnist who has accused him of rape. And then there are claims he corrupted the presidency for his personal profits. As president, and here's what I was talking about, as president, Trump has been able to block and delay several of these investigations and lawsuits, including a year-long fight over a subpoena for his tax returns. In part because of his official position, many of those matters have wound through the courts and will come to a head whether he is re-elected or not. All right. But with the polls showing that Democratic rival Joe Biden is leading in the race, the stakes become much higher for Trump if he loses the election. A raft of legal issues, including a criminal investigation by New York prosecutors, will come into focus in the weeks after the election. So he's subject to both federal and state. New York State has been after him for a while. It says, in every regard, his leaving office makes it easier for prosecutors and plaintiffs in civil cases to pursue their cases against him. All right, said Harry Sandick, a former federal prosecutor in the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office. For example, he is claiming a higher protection from subpoenas in the criminal cases and also in the congressional subpoena cases. And that is based largely on the fact that he is president. Some have suggested a formal apparatus for investigating Trump after he leaves office. Representative Eric Swalwell, a California Democrat, has floated the creation of a presidential crimes commission made up of independent prosecutors who can examine those who enabled a corrupt president, as he put it in an August tweet. So those that supported him and protected him, we're gonna see, because the Democrats are talking a lot of crap, and we all know that usually it doesn't amount to anything. All right, because as we all know, they're in it together. It's just two sides of the same wicked ass coin. It says the most serious legal threat facing Trump is the Manhattan District Attorney's broad criminal investigation into the financial workings of the Trump organization. Prosecutors have suggested in court filings that the investigation could examine whether the president and his company engaged in bank fraud, insurance fraud, criminal tax fraud, and falsification of business records. Now you know why he's so desperate. He's got all his lawyers in these states that are still up in the air filing these lawsuits. He don't want. In other words, what I'm saying is, if you thought that in this election, more than any other, the president seemed desperate, well, you're right. He's got a good reason. All right, he's trying to keep his ass out of jail. All right. Let's see. Playing fast and loose with value of company assets. He says the New York Attorney General is also proceeding with a separate civil investigation into the Trump organization, whether it improperly inflated the value of certain assets in some instances and lowered them in others, in an effort to secure loans and obtain economic and tax benefits. See, this is how this country is set up. This world, as a matter of fact, but we're just talking about America now. It's to benefit the very few. All right. And they play these games with, their taxes and things of that nature. Their tax shelters and all this other wicked stuff. And they got their CPAs and their lawyers. They play this game where the average person, that's what all this is built on. It's socialism. But it's socialism, it's socialism, all right, for the elite, for the wealthy, all right? And these idiots, that's why I hate when they always talk about, we don't want socialism. This is Joe Sixpack. We don't want something where you've always had it, all right? It's just for that upper echelon of people, all right? It says investigators are looking into the tax breaks taken at the Trump Seven Springs property in Bedford, New York, and the Trump National Golf Club in Los Angeles. They are also investigating the valuation of a Trump office tower on Wall Street and the forgiveness of a more than $100 million loan on the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago. See, this man has built up this persona over the years on nothing but, he's known for being a billionaire, all right, but the way it's structured, it's not like it can be liquid. That's what I'm trying to say, all right? It's just wow, this guy is, and the more he opens his mouth, he's a swindler, a hustler, allegedly. And that's what this is saying, more or less. You know, this guy's, he's just propped up. It's fake. It's fraud. It's just an appearance. All right. Continuing on, it says Eric Trump, executive vice president of the Trump Organization, sat remotely for a deposition with civil investigators last week. The lawyers are seeking additional depositions with Sherry Dillon, Trump's longtime tax lawyer. Lawyers for the Trump Organization have said in court documents that they believe New York Attorney General Letitia James is politically motivated. And they initially tried to push off Eric Trump's deposition until after Election Day, but a judge rejected that request. The state lawyers, who have said they are not coordinating with any criminal law enforcement agency, said their investigation is civil in nature, but they could make a criminal referral if they believe there is enough evidence. I mean, from what we've just heard, I'm sure it's not all. I would say, yeah. It says, with a big-time executive, when they do these multiple or hundreds of millions of dollar transactions, they're always advised by lawyers and accountants. It says there are a lot of layers between messing up the tax treatment and criminal liability on the part of the president. That's a big leap. All right. And then not only that, but here's other things he's got to worry about. This is it says opening the floodgates. Let me get some scriptures because I don't ramble, well, not ramble, but I've gone a long time without. Let's go into Habakkuk. All right. This is talking about Esau in general, or I should say as a whole, but this can also apply to an individual such as, well, what looks like former president. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. I think we all see that. Neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. You can insert every president that has ever been, all right, into that, because they've acted in the interest of the elites. For all you that think the president is the end all and be all, no, he's a puppet. 5. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, which you see more and more, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And this whole monetary system is based on debt. That's what that thick clay is making reference to, is debt. This is a debt-based, all right, society. 7. Shall not they rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? That's what it looks like. His time has come. They, assembling the forces against him. It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that shall dwell therein. 9. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Because like I say, everybody now wants a piece of him, all right? Years and years and years of fast talking, just running over people and doing basically whatever he wanted to do, all right? And he reached the height in obtaining the presidency at a very long shot, all right? The highest office in the land. And it looks like he's going to get kicked right the hell off. And all those people he screwed over on the way up, guess what? On the way down. Verse 10, it says, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. 11, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. 12, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. Look at his father before him, all right, and how he screwed over Jake, all right, and Trump the same way. Remember, forget the those 5 uh, Jakes that he screwed over, and even want to call for the death penalty, the Central Park Five. All right, and they were innocent. All right, it says 11. A stone for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that builds a town with blood and establishes a city by iniquity. Behold, is it not of the Most High, the Lord of hosts, that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity? That's it on that, but you get the picture. All right, he's done all that, and now it's time to pay the piper. Let's go to Psalms, because with all his business dealings, and like I say, all these lawyers and things that they get, this is Psalm 64. It's prayer of David. It says, let's see. I start at 5. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. All right. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. All right. And this is going into poetic justice. All right. It says, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Remember, I told you all those people he screwed over on the way up. Well, they're talking now. All right. So, yeah. It says, verse 9, it says, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. All right. And yeah, so it doesn't look too good for homeboy here. All right. Now, here it says opening the floodgates of lawsuits. If Trump is not reelected, he will lose the deference that courts have given to sitting presidents. As a courtesy, more or less, because let's face it, that doesn't look too good for the nation. They go in and take him out in handcuffs doing the perp walk. All right. He says the state attorneys general of Washington, D.C. and Maryland sued the president in 2017, alleging he corruptly profited off his position by placing his financial interests above those of American citizens. The state investigators prepared more than 30 subpoenas, including to the Trump Organization and others relating to the Trump businesses. Trump sued to block the lawsuit, which alleges he violated the emoluments clause of the Constitution by virtue of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that foreign governments and others have spent at his properties. Let's see. Emoluments clause. Let's see. And that is, I'm starting the emoluments clause, also called the foreign, is a provision of the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Paragraph 8, that generally prohibits federal office holders from receiving any gift, payment, or other thing of value from a foreign state or its rulers, officers, or representatives. Okay, I got it now. That word threw me off. I've never seen that one. It says Trump has appealed the ruling of the Supreme Court, which has not yet decided whether to hear the case. A second emoluments lawsuit brought by hotel and restaurant operators in New York is also pending. I'm going to call it right there because I've gone over. But just to give you as much information I could, yeah, he's running scared. Don't you dare think otherwise. Once again, the article is the legal reckoning awaiting Donald Trump if, and it looks like he is going to lose the election. All right. Wow. So with that, hey, I hope whoever views this is edified. Of course, that's what we're here for. And again, salutations to the I came out there on the highways and byways pushing this truth with all sincerity. All right. And once again, double honor to the apostles of great millstone, all right, who through the Spirit have taught us all this truth. Once again, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Rakakadash. Alright, so with that, Shalom.